Soybeans are legumes, so they taste like white beans, and when they are raw, they have a strong beany flavor. But after the soybeans are soaked in water, peeled, pureed, strained, boiled, and simmered for a period of time, the beany flavor fades and a very naturally creamy milk remains. Soy milk can be flavored in lots of very delicious ways and used to replace dairy products. To make a plain vanilla soy milk, start with 1 cup of dried organic soybeans and soak them in water 3 times their volume overnight in the refrigerator. The beans will soak up the water and expand, so I like to use a 1-liter mason jar size or bigger. The beans will also release some of their bitter enzymes into the water, so after soaking, drain off the water and add them to a large bowl with 2 liters of fresh water. The outer skins are bitter, so they need to be removed. Rub the beans between your fingers to gently split the beans in half so the outer shell falls off into the water. If the beans do not split in two, they were not soaked long enough. The beans do not float, but the outer shells do, so they can be skimmed off to the surface. Another good way is to carefully pour the water off the beans, allowing the membranes to escape over the edge of the bowl, while the heavier beans stay on the bottom. Add the beans to a blender with 2 pitted medjool dates and a liter of fresh water. Puree until smooth and strain through a nut milk bag into a large pot. I like to use gloves and keep squeezing until the last of the milk is released. Bring the mixture to a quick boil and simmer for about 5 minutes. The gassy foam collecting on the surface is the bitter part and needs to be skimmed off. Then add a fresh vanilla bean split down the center to release its seeds into the milk. As the soy cooks, the foam will continue to collect on the surface, so for the best tasting milk, I skim and stir intermittently throughout the process. It is normal for me to have a layer of soy sticking to the pot. I do not scrape the bottom aggressively until after the milk is finished cooking. After most of the foam is removed, I start to taste for sweetness and adjust with a little more water if the soybeans are very bitter and need to cook for a little longer. If the mixture is still bitter, like this batch, add an extra 60 grams of cane sugar and simmer on the lowest heat setting with a lid on until the bitterness fades, and the vanilla bean has a chance to steep into the sweetened milk and infuse a very robust vanilla flavor. Then strain again through a fine mesh sieve into a 1-liter mason jar. Very delicious, served hot or cold. Stored in the refrigerator, vanilla soy milk will be at its best for about 3 days.